The CSIRO, James, they're prepared to reconsider, they say, the figures in their GenCost report that estimated Australia's first large-scale nuclear power plant could cost up to $17 billion, wouldn't be operational, they said, until 2040. Of course, it doesn't compare like for like. It doesn't compare all the transmission and other costs in the renewable rollout. There's been a lot of complaints, not just from the opposition, but a lot of proponents are saying these figures in the GenCost report are on flawed assumptions. Today in that Senate hearing, we saw this from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade on the moratorium on nuclear. Have a listen.
Are there any benefits of Australia not having the ability to explore technology such as SMRs? Are there any benefits for this moratorium and prohibiting you from doing that you're aware of?
I'm not aware of any benefits, no.
Not at all, he says. James, about time.
Yeah, 32 countries around the world haven't got it wrong. In fact, they're building more nuclear plants right around the world, all bar here in Australia. And as we heard yesterday, we've got these wind turbines that are going to go offshore. They're not going to be any cheaper than nuclear, according to reports yesterday out of the same inquiry. So we've got a real problem on our hands. We know that those wind turbines out at sea aren't going to last as well. I live nearby the beach here in the Cedar Keppel, so I know that my air conditioner rots out after 3 or 4 years. So I can only imagine a wind turbine in the middle of the ocean, which is carrying 1,400 litres of oil, is a natural disaster waiting to happen. And we also know that we're not generating enough power as we move closer and closer to these net zero targets that have been legislated in states like Queensland here. We're sick to death of hearing that our landscapes are going to be plastered with wind turbines and these solar arrays the size of, multiple football fields. No one wants them. They're ugly, they're unsightly. Just to the west of me here in Bouldercombe, there's plans for these massive big lithium battery storage plants. Again, small towns aren't being listened to. When are we going to just make the final decision to follow the same lead as these 32 other countries across the globe and say, let's take the moratorium off nuclear and let's move forward, let's get it happening now, let's do it united between both parties and just say, let's finally just commit the money and get on with the job, because power and energy security for this country means cheaper power, but also our industries will be the beneficiaries of this long term, along with the jobs.
Just quickly, Dan, I've had a bit more time to have a look at the IMF's forecast for Australia. We looked at the top line analysis in terms of the federal budget, the impact on inflation yesterday, the fact that in the international comparable countries leagues table, we're right down the bottom, just in front of Slovakia in terms of where our trajectory on inflation is. And of course, that feeds into the prices we pay for our mortgage. But there's deeper analysis in there about the forecast for federal, state and local government revenue. It will hit, this is taxes, a record share of GDP of 36.4% next year. So over a third of our GDP in terms of the volume. I mean, that is extraordinary.
Yeah, it is. It means 1/3 of every dollar you earn in your back pocket's going to a government. And you've got to ask yourself, well, are we getting a good return on investment? There's nothing wrong with government spending money if it's good for our society, but clearly we're going backwards. It's not building the infrastructure that's making us more productive. It's getting spent on out-of-control programs like the NDIS that's growing to no end, various welfare programs. And the related problem, Peter, is there's also no growth going on in our economy. The only growth we have is from debt-fueled government spending and, as I mentioned before, mass migration. So if you're spending more money, fine, provided your economy is growing faster than what your spending is growing at. But we've got the opposite problem, and that's why this tax and spending is eating more and more of our economy, and it's only going one way.
And the only jobs we're finding in the economy or creating the economy are jobs for public servants and others. Gents, thank you for your time.